Hey everyone, welcome to another episode on the RC Retro channel. In this episode, we're going to look at my son's Monster Box. He loves it and it's completely stock. And I love it because now we can start to upgrade it. So I got some aluminum oil-filled shocks and some metal ball bearings for the tires. We're going to put those on, as well as look at some other modifications to the chassis from Ampro Engineering. So the first modification we're going to look at are oil-filled shocks. This is the original shock. It's just a spring, which is why the car is so bouncy, and that's why so many people love it. I, on the other hand, want to have a little bit better control. I don't want it bouncing all over the place. So I put on an oil-filled shock on this side, and before I put the other one on, I wanted you to see the original and how it sounded. And you could pretty much guess how it feels just from that noise it's making versus the oil-filled side. It's just so much smoother, it compresses nicer, and it's going to allow you to have more control of your car and soak up the bumps a little bit better. One of the easiest and least expensive ways to upgrade your car is just replacing all the plastic bearings with metal ball bearings. And it's not just the ones that are in your wheels. You want to open up your gearbox and replace any that are in your transmission with metal ones, as it's just going to let your transmission run smoother. There'll be less friction, and it'll cut down a lot of wear and tear on the gears, as well as extend your battery life also. To show the effects of metal bearings versus plastic bearings on an RC car, I've left the original plastic bearings in this wheel, and I've installed some metal ball bearings in this wheel. I'm going to spin each tire and see how long it rotates for, and I'm going to keep track of it on my cell phone. This is the plastic one. Nine seconds. This is the bearing, the metal bearing. About 30 seconds. So just for scientific purposes, I'm going to do it again one more time. Maybe I gave it a little extra oomph this time. Still 14 seconds. .29 seconds, and it's still spinning. The next upgrade I'm going to add is a transmission brace, and all it is this little piece right here. This is made by Ampro Engineering. It is sold on a website called shapeways.com, and what this transmission brace does is that it prevents the transmission from slapping up against the rest of the chassis when you hit the throttle. And at the same time, it allows the transmission to move side to side and articulate back and forth when you go over uneven surfaces. And I'll show you exactly what that is after I have it installed. But I'm not going to do a how-to video. If you want to see how that's installed, you can go on YouTube and look for Ampro Engineering, and they have a series of videos of all the 3D printed items this gentleman does to upgrade his cars. I'm just going to put this in, and I'm going to show you what it looks like after. So the basic premise behind this is that this is going to wedge between the transmission and this undermount chassis plate right here. So without getting too technical, you're going to take this off and you're going to drill 2 holes, just as you see there. And you're going to use 2 Tamiya self-tapping screws to keep this in place. And there's a transmission brace. So again, this is a great modification for your CW01 chassis, Midnight Pumpkin, or Lunchbox. Super easy to install. It took me about, 5 to 10 minutes to put that in. And it really negates the whole idea of that whole fifth shock mount, where people would mount a fifth shock on the inside of here to absorb all the bumps. This, for minimal cost, does all the work. So now that the transmission brace is installed, I wanted to show you what I was talking about. The transmission will be able to move from side to side freely, except you won't have that annoying sound of the transmission smacking up against the chassis. Well, that's 3 easy upgrades for a lunchbox that I highly recommend. 1, the ball bearings, 2, the aluminum oil-filled shocks, and 3, the transmission brace. And as for the transmission brace, that again is made by Ampro Engineering. He has a bunch of really cool videos on YouTube, so just do a search on there. He has a very interesting front suspension upgrade, which I'm thinking about doing. And if I do, I'll make a video on it. But if you're familiar with the lunchbox, you see the positive camber on here. The upgrade will reduce the camber and straighten out your front tires just like that. So thank you for tuning into my RC Retro channel and checking out my video on upgrades for my Tamiya lunchbox. Please like my video, please subscribe, and as always, your support is greatly appreciated.